What's going on, guys? Welcome to another live session with your boy Phrankleen. If you're watching this as a playback, thank you for stopping by. If you like what I'm about, don't forget to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. This is the segment that I call Say It Like It Is. It's been on for a while on my channel, okay? And underneath this segment is a segment called Storytime. Storytime is basically where people send their stories in to foodchannel1960 at gmail.com. If you can see me, you can hear me. What's going on, African Unite Force? What's up, people? Good evening, man. So today I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. What's up? I'm a T. I see you. Benjamin. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. House of Coffee. Right. So, welcome to another segment of Storytime, all right? Don't forget to share the stories, the video on your respective social media platforms, all right? So other people can get to watch. Just to listening from my work toilet, House of Coffee. I'm gonna snitch on you. Just to let you know, the Phrankleen podcast is about to start. Actually, this is my mic for the podcast. Thank you to everyone that supported me. That's my mic. So this is the box for the mic. The Phrankleen podcast is going to start very soon, all right? So once I've recorded a couple of episodes, I'll let you know so you can start listening on your respective devices. Anyway, so these gentlemen, married with 2 kids, sent me an email. If you can hear me, you can see me, hit the like button. This gentleman sent me an email. So he's got this ongoing palaver with his wife. He's basically saying, what do you think, Phrankleen? So what happened was, they're married with 2 children. A while back, wife used to work in the administrative field and stuff. And then, as you do, they live in their lives as couples. And then at some point, he was also, he didn't tell me the nature of the job, but he had his what's it called now? His hours at work reduced. So they were struggling with money. And then to make matters worse, Phrankleen, you seem so estranged from Nigeria like you're a British man. Just listening in. What's this? So anyway, wife too was working in an administrative field. So when the husband's job hours at work got reduced and stuff, they were struggling and all that stuff. And then he started thinking outside the box what to do, as a man and see how to bring in more money and all that stuff. The wife asked him not to worry. But anyway, eventually, the wife then lost her job that she was doing, like an administrative type of role. Now, prior to that, this man had already started the cargo business. For those of you black folks, mostly black folks watching me, you know this already, right? Wait, people can write things as you. That's strange. Well, yeah, there's so many what do you call it? There's so many people with trolls sorry, forgive me if you're listening, 1 second. There's so many trolls online with dodgy accounts, that come and try to hijack. Alunga baby, thank you for being online. If you notice any trolls, please block them one time, okay? Just block them. There's so many trolls. Anyway, as we're saying, So the man's wife also lost her job, right? As I said, but before she lost her job, he had started basically running his this sort of cargo business on the side, which is basically helping people within the diaspora community to ship their goods to countries in Africa, right? So he was able to use, I think, the local community, the church, and all that stuff. He was able to build, build up interest. So the long and short was the man's business started growing, started growing, started growing, started growing, started growing. He was making money. Wife had eventually lost her job. Just something happened at place of work. Job was terminated. She was like in an administrative duty. Now, the man's business was already growing. So he said to his wife, he said, listen, man, you can come and join me, because based on his initial projection, he did not expect the cargo business. Just for the clarity, the cargo business is basically, the air freight and sea freight, the cargo stuff for people from the UK to, he said, three or four major countries in Africa, right? So anyway, he told his wife, come and join me. I'm going to give you X amount of money, right? So the wife said, okay, cool. I'll join you. And then he was like, listen, if we join forces and, this grows really big, we can become partners. It doesn't matter. It's my business. You're my wife. Come and join me and I'll be giving you this because we've just started, but it's growing. And then you forget working for anyone completely, which makes sense. That's financial freedom, right? Now, she started working. According to the email, they were getting loads and loads of customers coming in, air freight, sea freight, containers, shipping cars and stuff. So the man was making money. So the wife's duties was, he said customers will pay them in two different ways. It could be cash in hand, which is if they bring their goods for like mostly like air freight and all that. Some people could pay, they get their invoices, and other type of payments will go straight into their business accounts and stuff. So she had a duty of reconciling all daily transactions, payments, chasing up an invoice. They had a couple of dudes helping them with wrapping up goods and, moving items and all that stuff. The place was booming. So at some point, these brother then discovered that, at the end of the day, when they were balancing their books, maybe weekly or every 2 days or whatever, they're looking at transaction, who's paid what cash in hand, what's gone into the business account, which is normal for a normal, business practice, right? So he said the first instance, he realized that they were short by 460 pounds, right? So he was thinking, whoa, how did that happen? Of course, that's a chunk of money in that type of business. So, and then his wife fessed up and said, oh, I took it, just take it off the money you're going to pay me at the end of the month. I used it for blah, 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 blah. So it led to an argument. So he said, no, 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 no. Don't do that. You know, it's not about taking it out of your the wages I'm going to give you end of the month. He said it's basically, we can't run business like this. You cannot be taking money without my knowledge, without my authorization. I don't want that type of practice. And very rightly so. If somebody who is not emotionally connected to you, who is not your wife, who is not your husband or your partner, did that, it's a sackable offense. And if they were prosecuted, they could get prosecuted for it and pick up criminal records for those reasons, right? So he said it led to not a huge argument, but of course a bit of argument. You can understand why. So he said she was a bit defensive. She was like, oh, this, I need to use it. I said, no, I trust you enough to put you in charge of, reconciling money and handling monies as my wife and all that. I don't want to run business that way. So anyway, long and short, they carried on and stuff. And then down the line, she did the same thing the second time. It led to another argument. And he said the biggest one was she took the sum of something slightly over £1,000, right? And the man said that led to, made the problem just, the the disagreement just hit the fan at that point. He reached his, boiling point and he couldn't stand it anymore. So they had a major argument. So you cannot keep, she was applying sentiments like, oh yeah, I'm your wife. Oh, are you calling me a thief? Or blah blah blah. So the long and short is the woman had a blatant disregard for business processes. All she's worked, and then the brother said, anytime they had argument at work, if it's money related, and he gets to tell her off, she takes all of that, she internalizes it, and then she'll take it home, right? She'll take it home, and then she will basically use that. They'll be moody, wouldn't cook, and of course, weaponize that to the point that they wouldn't make love for some weeks and all that stuff. Now, the man said he tried to sit her down and say, look, man, I love you as a wife and all that, but I cannot accept, I cannot accept this type of behavior. This is the reasons why if we had an employee, someone else did this, it's a sackable offense, it's unacceptable. So, and he said what exacerbated the situation was she then had gone to, it's a very common practice, had gone to speak to, what do you call it, man? Some third parties, some of our family members and a couple of church members. So this brother lost his cool when some people started ringing his phone and said, oh, Mr. Such and Such, take it easy. Your wife said blah, blah. Everyone started to have an opinion. And then he lost his rag. He went back home and said, how dare you? Like, you've done something wrong. I'm trying to get it resolved between us as a couple. And then you've gone to tell your family members and church members, you can imagine, right? It blew out of proportion. So he said she would then take all that toxicity to the workplace, and even the other people that were working for them helped him baggaging, cargo and, doing other stuff. If he's asking her to chase up payments or do this, she was being sulky like a little baby throwing tantrums, and she wouldn't, she would start arguments with him in front of clients and some of the other staffs, which became embarrassing for the man. So he said he put up with that for additional, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere with this. For additional 2.5 months. So the guy had enough. And then he sacked her. He terminated, and he told her at home, said, look, man, maybe let's focus on our marriage if we can still focus on it, okay? But in terms of you working within the company, I thought we could build something together, right? But the lack of financial discipline and you thinking you can take money as you want because I gave you access. And then he sacked her, right? And then he had already hired someone who has like an accounting background. He hired a lady and stuff. And he said she came to his workplace the next day after he told her that, look, I've hired someone else to do your job, to absorb your duties now. So there's no point, blah, blah, blah. But did not watch this. He said, even when she kicked up a fuss and started having arguments and stuff, he told her that, look, you have one of two options. If you want to go back to your, just give me a quick second. If you want to go back to your 9 to 5 job, at that time she had been out of her work for about 8 to 9 months that she's been working, with her husband, right? So I said, if you want to go back to your 9 to 5 job, I'll do everything to support you. If you have maybe your own type of business, anything else, some kind of self-employment that you'd like to go into, let me know. I'll support you. So she became vindictive, she became spiteful, and became a full blown argument and stuff like that. So what did she do? He said less than 3 weeks later, she files for divorce. So at that point, now this is what the guy emphasizing. At that point, the business had grown. He was really making money because he was shipping to some cargo companies within the black community. Might focus, for example, if somebody focuses on just shipping to Nigeria, they just ship to Nigeria. Some people focus on shipping to maybe Nigeria, Ghana, and any other neighboring countries. So he was making money on all that stuff. And then just filed for divorce. And so before this guy, she said, the man said it hit him as a shock. So before he could find his bearings, like, what's going on, blah, 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 she tried to use top level lawyers to basically freeze his assets, his account. That's his wife. She must have seen the numbers coming in. So the whole game plan was to take this brother to the cleaners and take a chunk of money from him. Then she generated a whole lot of lies around the kids and tried to frame him as a bad dad and, of course, to defame his character and absolutely sabotage him. Believe me, man. The guy said everything deteriorated and, they expedited applications to the family courts and all that. She will claim half of that with the reason that she helped him to develop the business. Alma Harry Davis. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. But guess what? This is what the gentleman told me. I'm not part of, what happened. He said the witness statements when he got the court papers that he nearly had a heart attack. So he also got a lawyer and stuff like that. They built up the lies and everything. Now, the long and short is, when they got into the family courts and all that, he said, surprisingly, it was a female judge that sat on the case. The judge was able to uncover the plethora of lies. And he said she was close to igniting a committal proceeding against his ex-wife because of the lies and misleading the court in a witness statement. Even said her lawyer got a mouthful from the judge for basically abusing the judicial process. So all that they built up and all that, said the only thing that the judge did was awarded a couple of hundreds for the children's upkeep monthly. Said nothing, said because she had no dime, and prior to that, she had gone ahead of herself, moved out of the house with the children, went to stay with one of her aunties who has a bigger house, whose husband had died, and she said she wasn't coming back to the house, and there was evidences that the husband didn't kick her out, right? She moved out with the two children. Don't know who advised her, but I think the ultimate goal was to take that brother to the cleaners and take everything that he's got. But she said the judge absolutely destroyed the case and ruled in the favor of this brother. Pay X amount of hundreds of pounds monthly for the upkeep of your children. She should have the children for so number of days. You can have them over the weekend. You can also have them during the week. As long as there's mutual agreement, you're no threat to your children, blah, 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 blah. You can imagine. So, and that was that. Even at that, with the court judgment, he said she's been weaponizing his children against him. So, for example, if he was due to go pick them up on a Friday, she would just say to him, oh, you can't have them because I've already made plans. They're with my mom. Oh, you can't. So everything, she's been trying to provoke him, and sometimes he may want to bring the children back. She would say she's unavailable. All of that is done out of spite. Yeah, somebody said US courts, it would have turned different for him. Of course. sometimes I'm not a legal expert. It depends on, the basis of the case, how the case was presented to the court. If a judge can see through the lies and that it's an absolute sham, or you're clearly being vexatious and being malicious, right? Just trying to use that process to maliciously target, and especially if you've told plethora of lies and they've uncovered it and all of that is blown back in your face, then your credibility is pretty much thinned out at that point, right? So anyway, that was the story. But the guy said, he claims to love her. Honestly, this is one of the stories. I'll say this personally. I wish I could hear from the woman. Not because I don't believe the brother, but I wish just to see from her point of view, like what pushed you to that point. Now, what do I think? These things happen, right? So it's great to build empire, like I always say, have investments and whatever with your partner. Some partners, either male or female, are just not cut out. They're not cut out for when it comes to the business side of things together. Does that make sense? Just focus on your day-to-day within the relationship activities together. As long as that has a smooth sailing, don't blow it out of proportion. Some people, some women, they're very deeply rooted in sentiments. So she was refusing to see it as, oh, for example, you're in an office environment. You're getting your wife to, babe, can you chase the invoice? Can you do X, Y, Z? Can you please do this? Can you please do that? Can you do this? Can you do that? So it's like the element of professionalism is out of the window, right? Having respect for the orders. This is not about undermining her. But if she was working somewhere else where she used to work, she would take on the same set of orders, right? But because it's your husband's business, you have the audacity to put your hand in the business account or to take cash that's business related without his authorization. Even if you are a business partner with a vested interest, with an investment, things have to be done properly. There has to be mutual agreement and knowledge before cash can be, or money can be transferred or taken or paid, for the peace of mind of all parties involved. So my own take from this is don't. And one more thing, lest I forget. These brothers said years ago when they were dating. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the story. So when they were dating years ago, there was an incident. There was an incident whereby he said the ex-wife, at the time they were a lot younger, one of her uncles, the person is late now, said they were back in Africa. So he was a wealthy man, was into oil and gas and all that. So they started dating in this country, right? So they both traveled to Africa on holiday. And then he said that her uncle had hosted them and all that. And then at some point, I think he had followed some group of people to some recreational center and stuff. So the uncle at the time had to catch a flight to travel to the US. So he gave her $2,000 and said, give $1,000 to your boyfriend. At the time, it was just boyfriend and girlfriend, right? So what she did was she concealed. She kept the whole $2,000. It was meant to be $1,000 each, right? So he knew nothing. She didn't even tell him. So I think he then found out that she had cash on her whilst they were packing to leave back to the UK then. Oh, what do you say? Oh, yeah, uncle gave me $1,000 was what she told him. He told me this in the email. And then he said he remembered saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to get my cart and all that. They kind of laughed about it. And at the time, she said she reluctantly gave him $300 from that money. So she played it as if she was giving him the money, right? Now watch this though. So he didn't know, he just took $300, thank you, blah blah blah, not knowing that she had kept $1,000 that was meant for him to herself. So a couple of years later, the said uncle came to the UK for medical checkup, right? So, you can understand African uncles, it's a cultural thing. So the uncle kind of gave the man a cold shoulder. The lady wasn't there at the time. And he was like, I sent your woman to you, and you couldn't even, you as a man, you couldn't even call me to say, uncle, you didn't even call me to say thank you. You didn't even call me to even check on me and stuff. So the guy said he was shocked. Like, what? Sir, she said you gave her $1,000, and from the money, she gave me $300. I'm very sorry, uncle. I do apologize. So the man, being a right standing person, took it personally and said, what? So he called her immediately and said, wait, when you came home, blah, 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 and I gave you $2,000, why did you hide $1,000 from your partner? And then that was how that bit was exposed. So she couldn't say anything like, sorry, uncle, I had some emergency. So the man told her off. And so, of course, afterwards, they had a massive argument. And the guy said it wasn't really about the money, but he was like, why would you do that? And then there's also be some other petty ones. Why am I saying this? Sometimes the handwriting is on the wall. The red flag is like right before you. People choose to ignore them. So, you see, years later, you procreate with that same person. What happened? She tried to take you to the cleaners because she has greed deeply embedded in her. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and this is not gender specific. This is what I'm saying. So, if you have a man, you're dating a man, for example, who drinks a lot, who smokes weed. You don't like a man that smokes weed and drinks a lot. You don't even like a man that drinks, right? You knew, and then you follow suit and you marry the man. What do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to wake up mysteriously tomorrow morning because you're not married, and then ta-da, he stops smoking weed, he stops to drink. You played yourself, man, because it's only about to get worse. Does that make sense? And then when it gets intoxicated, he's then going to use that against you. Does that make sense? So there's always that handwriting on the wall. So that's the story, man, for today. My closing line to that brother, just move on. Because he was asking me, what do I think? That's pretty much what I think. At least you got business giving you money. You're so lucky to have, you've gone through the courts, and she's so pained because she's having to pay the legal fees as well. So she's hurting on the inside. I can understand all of that, right? So that's the story. Keep your eyes peeled, man. For some, I don't think it's mandatory that you Lenlu. Thank you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Salute. I don't think it's mandatory. This is me. If you know your partner best, right? So some partners are not cut out for certain types of investments. It's nice to do things together, but if you are running a business, if you know that maybe your wife or your husband is a light-fingered person, or they're financially reckless, just maybe don't do business with them. That's the way I see it, man. Someone said no need for marriage, just be boyfriend and girlfriend forever. Do you know what's interesting though? Mind over matters, right? Do you know what's interesting about that statement? I know people that have cohabited for years. They are not legally bound as the society conditions us to believe, and they are the best of partners. They live a great life. You dig? They have a couple of children, and they are not legally bound on paper. People do that. Even white folks do it. People do it, man. So one of the worst things you can do is picking the wrong partner, man. That's what we decided, me and my partner, to love 822. Yeah, man. I can understand why some people are terrified, you know, it's crazy. If you're lucky, you're blessed, you have a good partner, great stuff. If not, the aftermath is nuts. Yes, they are married, but they are considered within the society as common law husband and wife. Yeah, marriage is very much tradition and sentiment. Absolutely, absolutely, man. So that's me done. I know people like that too, not legally married for 20 years and happy. They get married and marriage falls apart within a year. Do you know what? I've said it before. I'm going to say this in close. All the labeling is well and good. Husband, wife, we say that all the time. We're used to saying that. What you need to look for in a partner, in my opinion, is your best friend. If the friendship is non-existent, forget it, man. The rest is just keeping up appearances and it's all lies. But it's also a business. Pick your business partner with your head. The art of becoming more. I agree. I agree. I agree. Pick your best friend. Me personally, I detest complications and complexities, and and I know, like, the cohabiting of two people, right? Two adults with two different sets of mannerisms and perception and habits and whatever, right? It comes with a degree of challenge, right? But you can simplify the process by constantly finding common ground to exist and looking for friendship, man. I don't bother with all of that. The society said this. That's why I detest third-party business. I don't know who is in here is married or ever married. The truth of the matter is marriage is very much like a business deal. Marriage is good. If it comes to an end, that's it. Move on and do it again. Your partner, they have to be, if a couple, let me read some of these. If a couple has been together that long and divorced, it's a few years of marriage, they may have already had issues that they thought marriage would fix but didn't. Someone said no need to get married. Yeah, marriage is subjective, man. For some people, it's not for them. For example, for we black folks, we come from, a society where, again, some of these cultural things that are forced down our lungs, that's how it's done. They expect you to go get married and stuff. There's so many people that are single, exist outside the confines of that marriage, and they do well in life. They affect people's lives, the society, wider society, for good. So if it works for you, that's why I keep saying, don't stay inside a contraption and in the name of, I want to be seen as married. I want to be seen, people next door, people are going to say X, Y, Z. Don't remain in the toxicity. If it's not working, keep it moving, man. In Nigeria, marriage is an achievement in life. Yeah, it's just a toxic mentality, man. Marriage is not an achievement. Marriage achievement. No, it's not. End or there's so many people who are not married who are doing very, very well. That's me done. Don't forget to like my video. Don't forget to share my videos on your thingy. Like I said to you, I got my mic. The podcast is starting soon. The Phrankleen podcast. All right, it's starting soon. I'll let you know as soon as I go live. Thank you for watching. Smash the like button. Smash if you feel like supporting the channel. You're never obligated for anything. If you feel like, you can join my channel membership. Okay, for $4.99 a month. It's the price of a fancy cappuccino, large cappuccino. You can support via Cash App, #Phrankleen. PayPal, all the links is in the description. You can join via Patreon, all right? But that's me done. I will definitely catch you in the next one. Send me your stories to foodchannel1960@gmail.com. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. That's me done. I'm out. Bye.